So today, everybody, I'm really excited because I have a gentleman who, I mean, before we even started, just seeing his amazing face, it just lit me up energetically. And he is, well, he's got several books out about numbers. And he's going to explain to us a bit about numerology and why that's important to pay attention to in our lives, but also globally. We might get there in terms of globally. So I want to welcome Jesse Kalsi, Jesse Kalsi, and the book is called All About Numbers. So Jesse, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Susan, for having me. I'm so excited to be here today and to talk about numbers and numerology and my perspective of my angle of looking at them.
So in your book, you talk, well, hold on. What attracted you to numbers in the first place? I mean, are you a mathematician, or because you talk about numbers have energy?
Yes, that is absolutely true. So what attracted me to numbers was, basically my fascination. I'm not a mathematician, no, I'm not. But I like math and I like numbers, and when I came to the United States many years ago, from India, like most immigrants, I was having my share of my struggles, and I was trying to find my way out, right? And at that time I had some very basic knowledge, some very basic information about numbers. But what happened, Susan, was, I mean, intuitively, as if something was nudging me all the time: pay attention to numbers, look at numbers, right? And then gradually, as I moved forward, I started paying more attention to numbers, and then and things started falling in place, right? So with time, I improved. I just got better and better and better with it. And then by the grace of God, I met loads and loads of people, which was the universe sent me. And so what happens is, when you meet a lot of people and you consult with them and all different energies, right? And you get your skill improves, what it is. So I'll say all the people that came to me, they've taught me a lot too. I've learned a lot from them. So that's how it went.
I so relate to what you're saying, because I learned so much through my clients. They are always gifts to me, and when I tell them that, they look at me like I'm nuts. But it's true, because
it's true. Yes.
You learn as you're teaching and as you're growing and sharing. It just is an ongoing thing. So Jesse, then because numbers have energy. When you said you started paying attention to numbers, like what I've been talking to people. Okay, so I wake up in the middle of the night and I see 1, 2, 3, or I see 3, 3, 3, or 4, 5, 6, and I'm just noticing that in the middle of the night. During the day, I get in my car and there's 911 or whatever.
Yeah. So, it's about compatibility. So what happens is, like we look at, like when I look at, talk to people or start consulting with them, I look at the date of birth. That's the first thing we do, right? And then, and whatever numbers, like they say, oh, I'm seeing this number, 11, 11, 12, 12, or whatever numbers they see at that time, or they've been seeing it regularly, right? It is important, I mean, as I look at it, that those numbers that they see should be in flow with their own basic energy. Now, to give you an example, right? Say, for example, I'm an Aries, right? I'm born on April the 3rd, some year, and my best numbers are the number 3 and the number 9, right? So if I start seeing a lot of 3s, which I do once in a while, or if I see 9s here and there, they don't unnerve me, because I know those are my numbers, my planetary energy. But if I see more 8s, or even ones are all right, but if I see more 8s here and there, I mean, that energy doesn't work with me. So there's a sign every time. So what I'd say is that whatever you see has to be compatible with your own basic code, and if it is, then it's a good sign. Otherwise, maybe it could be a red flag too. So
right. So explain that to people, because okay, hold on. Because how do you find what numbers are compatible with you and what aren't? And then, then how do you avoid the ones that aren't? Or, what I mean?
Yes. So what happens is, so we look at a date of birth first, right? So based on the date of birth, I do a little calculation, which I have not mentioned in the book actually, and I can pick up the best vibes, the best numbers, and then the intent is to use those numbers to harmonize our energy. It could be that those numbers should show in our name, in our home, in the color of our cars, our phone numbers, our bank account numbers, and wherever we go,
Ah,
right? So it
uh-huh.
has to, so our energy has to be with our own energy. It's like people say, "Hey Jesse, how can I win the lotto?" I said, "I never won myself. And how can I tell you that?" But the answer is very simple: stay in your own numbers. Stay in your own energy to attract that frequency, right? So that's how it goes. So now, so like I mentioned earlier, see, my date of birth was April the 3rd. Number threes and number nines. Of course, I've used it for many years, and I know my numbers, and I've used it everywhere. Another place where I live, or the title of my book. If you see all about numbers, if
Uh-huh.
you use the Kellyanne Code there, it'll add up to a number 9. If you look at the colors
Uh-huh.
there, the colors of the book, right? You got the purple color. Purple is more the crown chakra, right? It's more number
Yes.
3 energy. So that's how I put those energies there to attract that frequency. Whoever picks up the book, it straight away connects to the crown. You see?
Which was what happened when I saw you.
Yeah.
When we
See,
got online, I was like,
you get
wow.
straight to the crown. So,
Mhm.
that is how we use these energies. We use these energies. Now, for example, so what day and month are you born? Just give me the day and the month.
Oh, not the year?
No, give me the day and the month.
11/3.
So you're born November the 3rd, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. My brother's born the same day. So the interesting, same numbers. Your numbers and my numbers are the same. You got Jupiter and you got Mars energy. But your time. So what is the number outside your house?
6225.
So 6225. So you got Venus and you got Moon twice. Well, Moon, of course, is water, and you're a water sign, so that works. But the 5 being Mercury sometimes collides with Moon energy. So, but otherwise, if you look at the energy, so you got Venus in the beginning, you got Mercury in the end, you got Moon twice. So this energy will work for you. I mean, how long have you been here?
We've been in this house 7 years.
Yeah. This energy
And
is.
it's so funny you say moon energy, because the street down that you have to get onto our street is called Moon.
Oh my God, that is interesting. That is so interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yes, and then what? So 5 and 6 see compatibility. The 6 and 5 is Mercury and Venus, right? So Mercury is always good for communication, talking to the world, and that's what you do. You're
Yeah.
communicating with the people, right, with the world. But I think, yeah, this number will definitely work with you. And the only thing that you should do is just getting off the numbers, right? There's one direction that's coming here is the northwest. So you can use your compass and from your house. I know exactly where the northwest is, because that is the point for your business.
Oh,
Business and money sits at northwest. So at
what?
that point, you can place some coins or some money, or you have a little jar of coins you put in there.
Uh-huh.
Leave money there, or if you have some books out that you want to market to the world, you can place it in the northwest, or your like you see, have your whole brochure behind here in the northwest, and that will
Okay.
just pick it up. It's air element. It'll just fly everywhere.
Okay.
That's
So
what I
Jesse, I
found.
have a question, because if my office is not in the northwest, if
Uh-huh.
I do these other things you suggested, putting coins, my book,
That's good. That's good.
then that I don't have to move my office to
No,
a
no,
different.
no, no. Don't move it. Just do this small thing. That's all.
Oh, okay. Now, is
Yeah.
that feng shui?
That is not feng shui. That's more like Vastu Shastra. Vastu is different than feng shui. See,
Okay.
feng shui was Chinese. Feng shui was copied from India.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Chinese are good at that. They copy everything, and so that was copied. But Vastu Shastra is more exact. So I'm sure if you've traveled to India, if you look at all the constructions of large palaces and forts and everything that has been built there, right, over the years, they're exact. There's a geometry behind all of them. The shapes and exact points, right? And
Uh-huh.
they're all built on the principle of Vastu. It's called Vastu, Vastu. Vastu. So if you go online and you research it, you find there's a lot of information on that. I think even this gentleman, Mr. Bill Gates, when he had set up his whole place in up in this north part of America, he had used consultants to setting up the whole area there, his whole office space, and there were people from Many Indians with Vastu Shastra have placed the exact points there. So that's how it goes.
Does it work with sacred geometry?
I'm sure it will, I mean, but what I'm telling you is what I know.
Right, yeah.
I'm just telling you what I know.
Just kind of was sounding like that because
Yeah.
in your book, you talk about putting an octagonal
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do a lot of inner energy work with some sacred geometry.
Yeah, that is so true. Octagon is very that particular shape. That octagon is very widely used. If you see the throne of many famous kings, even that the throne that they sat on had an octagon base. So octagon and then palaces and octagon is a very very auspicious shape. It's been used very very widely.
It sounds like it's a power.
Yeah,
point.
exactly. PowerPoint. Yeah, power shape.
So then, Jesse, you also work with people on. So we just ran through a huge thing of how we use our numbers to attract the things we want to us. Yes. But also to align with our home space and our relationship space and all of that. Now, what happens if somebody's in at an address that's not the right address for them, and they're living there, like they've committed to living there?
That's a great question. So what happens is there's something called as number patching that I have a trademark on. Number patching is a technique, by which what we do is we use, smaller numbers next to the existing numbers to shift the energy. So like we said earlier, numbers are alive. The moment you put a number outside or wear a number on your jersey or anywhere on your car, it starts vibrating right away. So say if someone calls me and says, when we do a reading and say your house number, I say, oh, your house number is not the best. So I don't go tell them, go sell your house. No, I don't do that. Then I just suggest a small patch, which means another planet, which associates with that number, to be added to the existing number, with the idea that we don't confuse the mailman, but at the same time, we shift the energy, shift the energy. And I've done this, extensively for the past 20 years. What typically happens is once those numbers are added, something will come to the door. It's like a correction comes to the door, It's possible that you might suddenly find a new house or some change will come, which will be positive, it'll attract it to the door. So that's what we do to address the energy at the door. But then what happens is, Susan, there are a lot of people, they're like, gemstones, right? They wear wrong kind of gemstones, or the name numbers or name energy is not balanced, or the popular name, the way it is said, is not vibrating in the universe. Many times the car, the color of the cars, they find, oh, we had accidents and this and that. So there are many things around you that have to be balanced too, you see, and those can be adjusted with numbers.
So the beginning point, Jesse, is your date of birth.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
And so then aligning everything else, your home numbers, your car, your phone number, all that, it comes into alignment with that primary point of your birth date.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. Then what about the names we're given, by our parents that may or may not fit?
Yeah. So then those names, then coming back to the code, like you asked me earlier, right? That the Kellyanne Code. Mm-hmm. So the Kellyanne Code. So I use the Kellyanne Code. So in this code, what happens is, look at from numbers 1 to number 8. Now we don't use the number 9 like Pythagore and other codes. We go from number 1 to number 8, and then each letter each letter and a number has an association with it. Now, so this code that I'm talking about is available online. It's no rocket science. You can get it online, Kellyanne Code, but I'll give it to you quickly. It's like number 1 has AIJQY. You write it down. You can write it down.
Oh, the letters are.
Yeah, the letters and the numbers. Yeah. So is AIJQY, 2 is RKB, then 3 is CGLS, 4 is DMT, then EHNX, and 6 UVW, and OZ7PF8. So it's something like that. And so what happens is, so we know the best numbers, right? And then we fine tune those numbers to balance our energies. Like my popular name is Jesse Kalsi. That's what I go by. And so if you go use Jesse Kalsi on the Kellyanne Code, it adds up to a number 9. It's a 27 actually, And so that's how I kept it to connect with my energy. But then that Mars energy might not work for someone else. it might work for you because you got, Scorpio, you got a lot of Mars energy, right? It'll work for you. But maybe if you are a different sign or a different date of birth,
Yeah.
it might just swing completely, just get out of line. So we be very careful, very, very careful using these numbers, right? And on your first name, last name, and the compound, right? So it vibrates, it just basically picks your energy up, and the vibration just goes up, That is the intent, to raise the energy, to
Raise the energy. So so then Jesse, sorry, I got to make a note about that, raising the energy. So when somebody's given name, well, I guess if we're given a name, that becomes our vibration as we enter in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what happens, like many women, when they get married, change their name to their spouses, and or then men and women are hyphenating, adding the other spouse's name. So what do we need to be aware of in terms of aligning that vibration? And we want it to align to the numbers of our birth.
Exactly.
Like for me, 3 and 9, I want it aligned with 3 and 9.
Exactly. So what happens again, we'll then have to quickly look at the name, right? And if they, maybe make a little adjustment. I mean, you're using the middle initial or not, or there are a lot of women, who would pretty much stick with the maiden names too. They just stick with that, and then they say this is flowing better for me, or many who change their last names or just change it, but then many times they don't know why things went south. So yeah, but if they are aware of their guides kind of bringing people to tell them where you have to adjust the name, that's very easy to do. We look at the name, and we can look at the date of birth, and we can balance the energy, because this happens a lot. I mean, this business of love and relationship is is everything, really. It's everywhere. And then this is one reason why people kind of get challenged, and they find they don't know how to adjust, or they are confused, or I remember one time, I'll just quickly tell you about this one young gal. She called me many years ago, and I still don't forget. I never met her, but she read my first book, and she called me on the phone, and she was this one. I mean, I could tell she was a kid brought up by very responsible parents, and she had got married to this engineer or whoever he was. I mean, she's Caucasian, and so she told me, Jesse, I got married to this guy, and we got married in a church, and my parents told me that your marriage is forever. But she said, I'm having so many problems with this man, and I just don't know what to do, right? But I think in the end they just went split. But I mean, the way she said it to me, I mean, it made so much effect that I could never forget what she told me, right? So, but that is the point, right? With these relationships, is they have to match, the energies have to match. Often, we get into wrong places, wrong homes, wrong cities, we start wearing colors that contradict us. We wear wrong gemstones many times. See, diamond, like women love diamond. Diamond is more a feminine kind of a crystal, but diamond again will not work for everybody. You know how it is?
Right.
It's a very tricky stone. And so are other colored stones too. So these things have to be worn with a lot of thought, with a lot of clarity, and be worn very carefully. Otherwise, they might look pretty, but they'll just rock everything off,
Yep.
So yeah, so that's basically what I've been blessed to meet loads and loads of people. But this aspect of harmonizing, the thought is harmonize your energy, use numbers, harmonize your name, your business, the gemstones, your colors, the cars, your phone number, and whatever you can, right, to make life a little easier. It's make life a little better, a little happier.
So in your book, you have a chapter on heavy numbers healing energy.
Yes.
So let's talk about that, because let's just talk about that. Heavy numbers. There are numbers that are just not compatible.
Heavy numbers. Yeah, that's one example is the number 18. See, what happens is, the number 18 has the energy of 1, which is Sun, and 8, which is Saturn. Those planets, right? One is 8, and 1 is Sun, 8 is Saturn. So Sun and Saturn are always contradicting. There's like this black and white is like, it's father and son energy, they kind of collide all the time. Let's say, for example, if someone has a house number which is 18, just straight 18, or a 180 or a 108, right? So those colliding planets will come sit on the door. So I have seen over the years, right, that in most cases, people who live in that house will face things like, cuts, injuries, accidents, family quarrel, legal trouble, separation, divorce, a whole bunch of stuff stitched on the door. right? But if you're in the law enforcement, or if you work for the police, or if you're a surgeon, things like that, you'll excel professionally. But personally, it'll constantly be bickering and it'll challenge your life. So a home like that has to be patched. You have to quickly get numbers and patch it, shift the energy, shift quickly. And I've done many of those, right? So that's one, like a number 1 and 8 is not, I'm not very fond of that number. And then another one is the 1 and the 6. Now, 1 Sun and 6 Venus, right? When they come together, they also, suddenly create a lot of challenges. It's like the White House. The White House is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, right?
Oh,
It's got Sun and Venus, right? Sun and
wow.
Venus. And see, Venus, if you look at the solar system, Venus is very close to the sun, right? And it's a very hot planet, right? So Sun and Venus, right, are always kind of not good in a relationship. They'll bring things like, deception and trickery and confusion and, a secretive planning and, things like that. It's always, I mean, they never speak the truth, they'll always
Yeah.
bring something else.
Yep.
That's how
We're
that
witnessing
energy
it.
comes.
We're feeling it. We're seeing it. We're finally seeing it, maybe.
Yeah, yes. So that number, and so I've talked about that in my book too, and I've talked about the White House and how those numbers affect, that energy. And I've also mentioned that the 6 can be turned to a number 9. I'm sure then that becomes 1900, right? I mean, it's easy to say, but I mean, it's not a joke to do it, because it's been a number for a long time. But who knows? But that's how these energies work on homes,
So
and
moving in, so this is just interesting since you mentioned the White House and all that. So an individual whose numbers are compatible with them, right,
Mhm.
moves into the White House or begins working at the White House, even
Yes.
those people are
Yeah,
affected.
absolutely. Yes, they have interest, business interest. Yeah.
And so then if it's in a misalignment with their personal number, that sounds like that would be a very painful
Yes,
experience.
they won't stay there. They just run away from there. They won't stay there. They find it very difficult to work
Oh,
there. They find it
okay.
very difficult to work there.
Right. I think it would be difficult to work there, even if I didn't know my numbers. I think it's
Yeah,
challenging.
yeah.
But so when you're in a home, you're talking about patching the numbers
Yes.
again. When you're in a home that has a heavy number and it's not in alignment with yours,
Mhm.
when you say patching the numbers, does that mean I got to go out and add extra numbers to my?
Yeah.
Where do I put my numbers?
Yeah, exactly. So like going back to the early example, so if you have say a 108 on your door, and I look at your numbers, which I've seen now, and I say, oh well, 108, if you get more, we can get more Venus energy here. Venus is, because 108, so Saturn and Venus are kind of happy together, right? So I'll get a number 6, in the end. I make it 108 and a small 6, a yellow or gold sticker. So that
Oh,
Venus, when the Venus steps in with Saturn, they're compatible. So that'll correct and that'll balance, that anger might subside to more love, So that's the intent, to make it happier, to make it less thorny,
yeah.
bring it down, and the mind starts working better, and something else will come to the door, So like that. So like
So it's
that.
about attracting
Yes.
also,
Yes.
using your numbers and patching your numbers to attract more happiness, more
Yes.
love, more wealth.
Exactly. Yeah, everything, of course. Wealth is, like, is energy too, right? So when that
Right.
corrects, and it shifts, you go a little higher, right? The
Mhm.
vibration is changes, shifts, so you lift it up a little bit, then you lift it up a little bit. You see, it's just going a little higher so you can get better, You have to rise up to kind of get better, right? You
Yes.
won't get much on the ground floor, so yeah,
No. And
yeah,
I've been there on the ground floor.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Not anymore for me.
Yeah, no,
Right.
your vibe's pretty good. I mean, what comes now for you ahead is really, really good too,
Yeah.
I
So
like the
thank you.
colors you use. You got freedom, brilliance, because you put red in the back. That's pretty good.
Uh-huh.
So I like the logo too, which is red. So you use the right colors. And interestingly, what you're wearing is also the right color too.
And I noticed we are in a
I
similar
know.
color.
Same.
So,
Yeah, we Mars energy.
and Jesse, I got to say, when my amazing graphic artist said, let's brand you with red. And I'm a natural redhead. And my
Mm,
mother
mm,
told me when I was a little girl, you can't wear red because it makes you look green,
no, no.
stuff like that. And so when she said we're going to brand it red for empowerment, I was a little nervous. but since I've stepped into it, I personally feel more empowered. And as I started wearing colors that were in alignment with
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
not what somebody told me I should wear, I feel more
Oh,
powerful when I
you're
leave the
stronger. Yeah,
house. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. So whoever did that for you, that did an excellent job. And the colors you got
Yeah,
in,
thank you. She's
beautiful,
my very
perfect.
close friend and my graphic designer, and she does
Yeah.
all the she does all the social media slides that we put out and all
Oh,
that.
that's
She's
wonderful.
very,
You're so lucky to have her. She's very
I am
intuitive.
so blessed. I am so blessed.
Yeah, that's
But
wonderful.
also, once I moved into this home,
Mhm.
I'm guessing, and now I'm thinking about this, I was able to call a team to come work with me.
There you go.
And now I'm supported by a team of really amazing, high spiritual people that do their day job. They do really well.
Mhm.
But before I moved in
Mhm.
here, I couldn't get off the ground.
Yeah,
It
see?
was interesting.
So that's the vibration shifted.
Yep, yep, definitely.
Yeah,
Um, so let's talk about healing. So you've mentioned it, I know, but I just want to be specific because I'm all about healing.
yeah, yeah.
That what if somebody's having physical diseases,
Okay, good, good, yeah, good. So see what happens is then, I also, because I'm from the Far East, I'm kind of very, I have that information about chakra energy too, the inner light switches, right? Those are very, very important, like, and so chakra balancing, is very, very important. So I tell you, see, being in a woman's body is very difficult, right? It's not easy. Excuse me. So what happens is, so the root chakra, I mean, I'll tell you what, the root chakra, the base of the spine, right? That energy, the foundation has to be very strong. So I'll tell you there's something called as Rudraksha beads. You can write it, I'll give you the spelling. It's called
Mhm.
Rudraksa, Rudraksha. So these are, beads that grow on, it's actually a fruit that grows on trees in the Himalayan kingdom in Nepal and those areas, right?
Mhm.
And what happens is these beads have a natural frequency, they're very high frequency things, And so for women, right, for women challenges, right, an 18 faceted is an 18 faceted Rudraksha bead is very good because that 18 has that energy to kill any negative energy, to just knock it off, right? And so if women are having any issues with their body, it's time to give birth, or any other complications in the female body, right? That one bead that works on the base of the spine will heal many, many of their issues, So that I
Wow.
want to bring out to you. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and you can research that online, and there are sources that sell genuine ones, and you can buy a good one and then use it. And those beads, think like a human body, our energy is around 8 or 9 joules. Energy is measured in joules. So we are about 8 or 9 joules is our energy. But what happens is some of these beads have the energies as much as 150 joules. It's so high.
Ooh.
So they lift you up, right? They'll just, you'll be right up like that. So
It
this,
sounds like you can't be with them for long periods of time. If we're operating at an 8 or 9, that
yeah.
150.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That lifts you up. So what you can keep it in your house someplace, or once in a while, if you're going for an important meeting, right, you can carry it with you. So if it's an important doctor's visit, it should be in your pocket, right? If there's something is stuck in your life, say it's a legal matter, you carry it with you. If you're looking to buy a bigger property, carry it with you. If you're looking for more abundance, more stability, it's like the foundation of a tree. It's like the base of the spine is like
Yeah.
the base of a tree, right? The foundation is strong and the tree is going to be tall, right? The foundation is strong, you can create a huge structure, maybe a skyscraper, right? So that's the intent, this foundation. It
Right.
strengthens the foundation of the,
Strengthens the foundation.
yes,
Yes.
very high frequency. And by just keeping it in your house, right, it'll attract a lot of strength. You need to build a lot, build like you, right? You can build, maybe you can have a television station, or you can have, radio stations, or God knows, a whole bunch of stuff, right? Can just come right to you. It'll just pull it from, and you won't even, and you'll wonder what happened. Where is all this coming from, right? It's like that because your energy is going right up there.
Right. It's so amazing to hear that you've said this to me, because all of last year I was focusing on inner healing
Mhm.
of my physical body.
Yes.
And what was occurring is I began to just focus on a high frequency of love
Yeah.
and filling everything within my mental, emotional, physical, and etheric bodies
Uh-huh.
with that high frequency of love.
Uh,
And I now can hold it much more easily, if
yeah,
that makes
that's
sense.
good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the time as you move forward is very good. I mean, you'll get what you want, or whatever you want will come to you. So, yeah, it'll all come to you. So, yeah, you don't have to
I
think about it.
appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So Jesse, thank you for explaining a lot of this. The book is really amazing, everybody. All about numbers, attract luck, abundance, and joy based on your numbers. Um, and and Jesse's has said during this podcast a couple of recommendations of things to go online. So we'll have all that in the show notes in case you were like trying to madly take notes like I was.
Mm.
And then you want to like revisit. Thank you so much for the work you do, Jesse.
Thank you.
I,
Thank you so much. Thank you for having
I,
me. Thank you for
and
having me.
I know that you give from the center of your heart for what I think is the highest good of everyone that you come into contact with. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And his website, everybody, if you wanted to book a session with Jesse, it's Jesse, KALSI.com.
That's correct.
JESSEKALSI.com. So
Yes.
thank you so much for being with me today and explaining all this.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and wish you all the best. All good things are coming to you too. All right, Susan?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you. And I'm just
bye-bye.
going to end with, and so it is. Namaste.
Namaste.